It was tough to be in Ghana then. Painful lesson I think that Ghana will teach you is patience. The time for Ghana is now. You have to know who to trust. You have to build certain connections with people. You have to be ready to pivot and pivot very fast before you lose everything. There are things that you can only understand once you experience them for yourself. The other benefit of investing from afar is that your money is going to go further. Now, I'm not saying send money abroad willy-nilly. Please, for the boys in the back, invest in Africa where there is potential. Hey guys, welcome back. All right, so today's video, I want to talk to those who are thinking about moving to Ghana, right? But you really aren't 100% sold out on it. Now, there is such a thing, and I've touched on it before, there is such a thing as being able to love Ghana from afar, and there is nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean because you want to love Ghana from afar that you are any less interested in Ghana, or your want for Ghana is any less valid than anybody else's. It doesn't mean that. Sometimes you want to love from afar because you know when you get close, those feelings of I cannot take this, right? Those feelings, they pop up. And so today I really want to talk about loving Ghana from afar and choosing to invest that way rather than being 100% on the ground. Because, I've said it before, I feel like there are different ways that you can decide to live in Ghana. And it doesn't have to be full time, right? Because Ghana takes a certain type of temperament of person. It is not for everybody. When I moved to Ghana 11 years ago, Ghana was not for everybody. Honestly speaking, if I just say this, right, a lot of people that live in Ghana now would not have made it if they had moved back then, because it was tough to be in Ghana then. I'm not saying it's not tough now, but it was tougher to be in Ghana then compared to now. So it's not that you don't have a love for Ghana, but it's just that the daily stresses, the ins and outs, those kind of things can feel overwhelming for some people. And so therefore, they're not necessarily ready to, leave everything in the West and move back. And you really actually don't have to do that. Investing from afar is actually an option, okay? When you come to Ghana, as I was saying, you need to be a certain type of temperament of person to be able to live in Ghana, right? Because one thing Ghana is going to do, the most painful lesson I think that Ghana will teach you is patience. I think that's got to be the hardest thing. That's the thing that breaks people down. I'd say patience and finances. Those are the two things that people really struggle with when they move to Ghana, okay? So the first one, I'll just speak about very quickly, patience, right? Because of the way that Ghana is set up, nothing moves the way that you think it's going to move. So even if you think I'm going to spend a day dedicated to just achieving this one thing, you may not achieve that one thing in that one day. People will slow you down and you cannot explain what it is that has caused you to waste your whole day. But your whole day will just flash before your eyes and you wouldn't have achieved anything. And you can't even explain the reason behind why you haven't been able to do anything. Just people around you just move very slow. And so it's almost like if you are still in that frame of mind where you're like, go, 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 and you try to come to Ghana with go, 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 you will get extremely frustrated. You'll get frustrated to the point where you're like, I don't even want to do this anymore. Ghana will teach you how to learn patience, because everything has to slow down and you have to be patient with people. You have to be patient with the way the system is. You have to be patient when you walk into certain food shopping places and you ask for something and they'll tell you, they'll look at you like you're speaking a different language, like they don't understand what you're saying, or they just don't want to do it, or they'll tell you I'm coming, and then they take their time, they walk really slowly, like no level of urgency in anything. Those things, after a while, you can't get angry about, because you're just angering yourself. And so it will humble you to the point where you have to pump your brakes and slow down. I'm not saying you have to be as slow as them, but you have to be able to exercise certain levels of patience to be able to deal with those situations. Otherwise, you'll be blowing up all the time and you can't do that. For me, I think when I moved to Ghana, I would say that I have a certain level of patience, but not as patient as I am now. I would say I'm not. I've had to learn to be patient, and that's not because I I just had to learn. I just had to learn patience. That is it, because I realized that all I'm doing is raising my own blood pressure for no reason, and nobody cares. I always say all the time, nobody cares. If you're angry, nobody cares. So, you know, in trying to work with that, you realize, once you understand how the people are, you realize how you can adapt your own lifestyle to fit in with that. Like, even if you have house help, the way in which they will do certain things can frustrate you. And so therefore, you have to have the art of patience, okay? So patience and finance. Finance, definitely. People come to Ghana and you think, oh, it's cheap to live in Ghana. You know, my money is this. And before you know it, your money you start leaking money, and it becomes a problem. Okay, so those are the two things that I would say that people will struggle with. And that makes it hard for people to say, you know what, I'm going to leave behind this cushy lifestyle, if your lifestyle is cushy, you know what I mean, this semi-comfortable lifestyle that I have in the West, and move to Ghana now where I have to almost start all over again, right? And understand this new system. I've seen loads of you in the comments who are like, I'm not going to move to Ghana, like, this is too much. I watch your videos, it seems more hassle than it's worth. I'd rather deal with the devil that I know. And while all of that is not false, right? And that's true to you. There are things about Ghana that are also beautiful, but I can also understand that you may not want to 100% commit to Ghana because it is a lot to take on, right? Ghana has a lot of issues that need to be addressed, and so to pick up and almost risk it all in Ghana is kind of scary. And you know, we've all seen some of these interviews and social media things flying around where people have lost money. When you come to Ghana, you're going to lose money, but we'll talk about it another time, right? That's just how things kind of go. So I can understand the dynamic of wanting to love Ghana from afar, but also invest in Ghana. And that is definitely a possibility if that is something that you would like to do. You know, if you decide to invest from abroad, it gives you a bit better stability. You get better protection, you know, because you're going to be dealing with lawyers in the West. You probably need, depending on what you're trying to do, right? You can have a lawyer in the West, but it's also good to have a lawyer in Ghana because there are two different types of law. And so your best bet is to have lawyers in both places. And if the two can communicate so that there is better understanding, then that will put you in the better position. If you don't want to risk your finance, then it's better to pay for some of these things. Sometimes, one of the things I've realized when people come to Ghana sometimes is that, you know, the reason that people often get scammed when it comes to certain things is because they want to take shortcuts, right? They want to be able to buy the cheap land, for example, right? And not involve a lawyer because a lawyer is just going to take their money. But a lawyer can help you to some degree. They can't help you all the way, but they can help put certain measures into place. But if you're in the West, it's good to have a lawyer that can look over your stuff there and a lawyer in Ghana who can look after your stuff in Ghana to give you the better protection. You're going to pay more, obviously, but it's going to be worth your while, especially if you're not on the ground in Ghana. Because there are certain things. Now, I'm going to go as far as saying this. Not every business can be run while you're in the West. So it depends on the type of business that you want to bring to Ghana. Okay, there are some businesses that are going to be more hands-off than others. Now, if you're trying to run a restaurant, for example, and you want to do that from afar, don't waste your time, don't waste your money, don't waste any of that, because it's going to be very, 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 very difficult to control something of that like that while you're not there, unless you're saying, you know what, I'm going to move to Ghana and then I'm going to set up this business, I'm going to wait for it to be on its feet, and then I'm going to go back to West. That's different. But if you're just thinking, well, you know, I'm going to just send money back, I'm going to get this, I'm going to come a few times, you know, to make sure that, you know, the place is set up how I want it. And then you know, after my 1 month, I'm going back to the West, right? And then I'm going to leave that business in someone's hands. Forget about it. It's not going to happen that way, okay? That kind of business you need to be on the ground for and do that, right? Even if you are on the ground in Ghana, you can't leave your business for a day. You have to be there. You have to pop in all the time. You have to have a very close eye on a business like that. Whereas perhaps maybe there are some other types of business where it can be a little bit more hands off. You don't need to be there as much. Say, for example, you were having like a co-working space. I just pulled that from the air, right? You had like a co-working space or something like that, and it's set up, right? You don't necessarily need to be on the ground for that all the time, right? There are ways that you can make sure that that business is working well. So you need to think about the type of business that it is that you want to do. So if you find a business where you don't have to be so hands-on-y, then yes, it's great to invest, because the time for Ghana is now, right? And if you have a great business idea, but you're choosing to wait for like, you know, until you feel comfortable to say, okay, I'm ready to get up and leave, your business idea may not be a great business idea in 5 years' time. It might have run its course in Ghana. And what I mean by run its course is not that it won't work anymore, but the fact is that so many people have done it now. It's like, it's not be the first or be the best, remember? So it's like, it doesn't mean it can't work. It's not going to be as easy for you, and it may not be as profitable for you because it's now saturated. Okay, so in a situation like that, I would say that it's great to invest while you're in the West and get those businesses off the ground. But more hands-on-y ones, I would say you have to be careful with that, because you don't want to be pumping money into something and not really be seeing how it's working out, if it's working out. And you know, so a lot of the time when you set up businesses in Ghana, you have to be ready to pivot, and pivot very fast before you lose everything. So I think certain businesses you need to be on the ground for, and certain other ones you don't. So you need to pick the business that you're going to do very, very wisely. I believe that investing in Ghana is actually a really good thing to do. Not just for you, but also for your children as well. Especially as, you know, a lot of us are becoming more aware of what Africa has to offer, what Ghana has to offer, right? We want to be able to create spaces that our children can easily walk into if they want to do that. Because honestly speaking, I believe as the years go by, more and more people will want to be moving back to the continent. It's just going to happen. The only thing that's slowing people down right now from being able to move how they want is that perhaps family wasn't set up in a way where you had something to go to. So you're having to start from scratch, or you're just having to do something. You are the first generation that's going there, and so you're having to establish yourself. So it's good if you can put yourself in a position where your children, even if you're not going to make the move, your children will have an opening into being able to move to the continent if they ever feel ready. And even if they don't feel ready, there is something there for them. I believe that it's good for us to get a foothold into Africa now, because at some time Africa is going to, although it's growing, and you know, the whole thing of moving back to Africa is very real, I believe it's going to get a lot stronger over the years, especially as things in the West get harder. We can see it already. You see what's happening in America, it's happening in UK. You know, people are pretty much being squeezed out, right? Financially squeezed out, because it's being made more and more difficult for people. You only have to look at, you know, how the ICE is operating. You only have to look at how people are being, you know, their passports, they tell you that your passport is not valid because your mother didn't set you up on your own passport, and now you're being deported even though you've lived in the country for so many years. These are little things that are popping up, but eventually these issues are going to get bigger for a lot of us, and some of us could be faced with real deportation things, and you want to have somewhere to go back to. You want to have some type of footing in Africa. I believe that the time is now. You can disagree with me. That's also fine. But this is just a theory. I'm not saying this as a matter of fact. This is just my theory, and looking at how times have changed and are still changing. If you have the desire to love Ghana and want to invest but don't want to move, that's absolutely fine. You do have to make sure that you pick the right business idea if that's what you're going to do, because like I say, you have to be on the ground, right? You have to know who to trust. You have to build certain connections with people. There are things that you can only understand once you experience them for yourself. No matter how many times I can come on camera here and say to you, oh, X, Y, Z this, until you experience it for yourself, you won't get the whole picture. And obviously everybody's everybody's experience with certain things can be slightly different. So your experience, I might have a tough experience in something, you might have an easy one. I might have an easy experience, you might have a tough one. And so you have to be on the ground to experience some of the things yourself. And so certain things, yes, you have to be on the ground for. And even, I would say, even if you're Ghanaian, right, because of how quickly Ghana is changing, if you're not on the ground regularly, you need to top up your information all the time. You have to always be on top of how the system works all the time and understand certain things and the laws and all those things. It's better for you to be on the ground for certain, for some businesses, but not for all. And also the other benefit of investing from afar is that your money is going to go further. You know that you have money in your pocket. You know the money that you need to pay your bills in the West, right? And if you have surplus, you can use that to fund whatever it is that you need to fund in Ghana. Okay. Whereas if you get up and you say, okay, well, I'm going to move to Ghana, I'm going to do all this, you know, not everybody can earn the same money that they had in the West in Ghana, right? Some people are blessed to be able to work from anywhere, right? But that's not the situation for all. So if you are a bit unsure about the business, or you're a bit unsure about if Ghana is for you full time, then staying in the West and sending your money abroad could be a way to do it. Now, I'm not saying send money abroad willy-nilly. Please, for the those in the back, please hear what I'm saying. I'm not saying send money abroad willy-nilly. But if you are going to be traveling to Ghana, right, you have this extra money where it's not going to put you in a position where you have lost your life savings. Okay, we've seen it all over. People have lost their money because of various different reasons. You don't want that to happen to you. So if you can stay in the West and you have that money where you know that your own bills are taken care of, but you have this surplus to, I guess I'm going to use the word risk in investing in Ghana, then that could be a great route for you in terms of you having a heart for Ghana, but not necessarily wanting to move there full time, or at least not now. That's a great way to do it. Keep some money in your pocket so that even if things do fall apart, you're still able to, you know, continue with your lifestyle. It's not the end of the world. I'm not saying it won't hurt to lose money. Nobody wants to lose money, but you know, you still have a great standing because you still have whatever's going for you in the West. You haven't left it all behind. You know, if you decide to invest from the West, it also helps reduce the daily stress because, you know, you're not there in Ghana, but you still get your foothold, right? So investing in things like real estate, Airbnbs. Airbnb, I would say, is probably actually a good one to do if you have someone that can manage it for you, okay? Because it doesn't take as much effort. And if you want to close up the Airbnb for a month, you can do things like that can be flexible, is good. Or if you have a rental property, again, that's another great investment way. As long as you don't have to rely on that money to live. I'd say it's more risky if you have to rely on that money to live, because one thing I've noticed about the rental market in Ghana is that it can be up, it can be down, it can be up, it can be down. You can't bank on it. But if you don't need that money, but it's nice to invest your money somewhere, you want to put your money somewhere, you invest into something, right? And you don't mind the returns being seasonal or whatever, then I would say that's a pretty good business, which is kind of hands off a little bit. And you kind of can control it from wherever you are, because people can pay you where you are in the West, and so you only need someone to just manage the property and make sure things are working as they're supposed to working. So things like that are great business ideas if you are thinking about investing from afar. So investing from afar is great if you want to test things slowly, right? If you want to test the market slowly, again, great to do it from the West. And also it gives you the opportunity to pull out very quickly if you need to pull out. If you do some type of investment deal and you can see it's not going well, you're able to pull out without it impacting your original finances too much. So there are actually benefits to investing from afar. It's a great hybrid model, okay? To be able to invest while you're in the West, right? Test things gradually. You can then make your transition to Ghana gradually. You're always able to pivot as well. One of the things I would say is that you should visit Ghana often. Even if you are investing from afar, visit Ghana often. So you won't get the full scope of what it's like to be on the ground, but it would definitely help you to understand the system and see how things are changing, and see how perhaps you can grow your business model, or see how the economy is changing. You know, once you get a foot in, right? It helps. And so that kind of hybrid model is great, especially if you're thinking about coming maybe in 10 years time, in 5 years time, but you don't want to put everything there now. That is a great hybrid model to use. It is not impossible to say, I'm going to stay in the West for now and invest in Ghana. You just have to be careful about what it is that you're investing into and how much you're investing into that thing, and just make sure it is a good business idea that's going to work for you. The key here is to know how to live in both worlds, okay? So maintain what you have, and you know, especially if you're strong in the West, financially very strong, continue to keep that strength, but then invest in Africa where there is potential, because I'm telling you, it is going to blow up. And when I say blow up, I mean in a good way, okay? It is going to blow up. Things are happening that some of us don't even know yet. Things behind the scenes are happening, and Africa's growth is only going to get stronger. And so it's great if you can get a foothold into that while it's still in its infancy. You know how we all we'll have hindsight and we're like, oh my gosh, if only I had done this, if only I had done this. I think Africa is great. A lot of people right now are too scared to invest in Africa because obviously it is a little bit uncertain, and you should be wary. But for everybody that says, I will never do that, I'll never invest, they're going to miss the opportunity of having been able to invest and get something great. And so a hybrid model is great for me personally. If I felt drawn to Ghana and I knew that I couldn't live there full time, I would invest from afar. If I had the opportunity to do that, that's what I would do. A hybrid model is absolutely perfect. No one says you have to leave everything behind and move 100% full time in Ghana. You can do it. You can be in Ghana 3 months out of the year if that's what works for you, or you don't even have to be there. Depending on what it is that you're trying to set up, you can definitely be in and out. There is no perfect model to for me to sit here and say you should do it this way. It's whatever works for you. But I'm going to touch on some more areas around that in a separate video. But that is it for today. Let me know what you think about what I've said. Have you thought about investing from afar, staying in the West and sending your money to Ghana? Because obviously if you can do that as well, you know, the exchange rate can be on your side, and so that's great. Let me know what you think in the comment section about what I've said. What kind of business ideas do you think would work really, really well in Ghana from afar, if I've missed anything. And that's it. Okay, if you'd like to do a one-to-one consultation with me, send me an email to dela@moretodela.com. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment and share this video. Until next time, I am out. Nutifafa.
Me wind